Okay, so we're back, and hi everybody. Everyone got their lunch and they're eating, so if you hear chewing sounds. And just so those of you who cannot smell the smell, it's Mexican food, tacos, salads, hot sauce. Don't be jealous. Okay, so we're going over scriptures. We're talking about creating your life. And now I actually have glasses too, so that'll be helpful. Although Ningxia read, do the Ningxia challenge. My eyes have gotten better. Okay, Isaiah 55 we talked about. Ephesians 5:1, 2 Samuel 23:2, Philippians 4:8. Whatsoever these things are of good report, think on these things. One time when the Lord was really dealing with my thoughts, because in the past I was very much on autopilot, and my brain at the time in the past wouldn't necessarily be programmed to positive things. And so now I'm continuing to program and reprogram myself and be disciplined. Like it said in the scripture before, we demolish arguments and every pretension that sets itself up against the knowledge of our God, and we take captive every imagination that doesn't line itself up with the knowledge of Christ, and we make it obedient to Christ. Making it obedient means replacing it and having discipline. The word discipline comes from discipleship. Those of you who choose to be disciples, you must choose discipline. And up here is where it all starts and begins. Because whatever you're thinking, your heart is feeling, and feeling is key. You know, a lot of people have said emotions, blah, 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 feeling, blah, blah, blah. No, feeling is very, very key, because what you feel is the frequency that you pump, and that's what comes out into the atmosphere. So if you're choosing to have high-level finances and to have an abundance of supply, but we talked about this last night, but at home, when things get quiet and you're in your bed, you're worried, and you're thinking about scary things of not being able to pay your bills and da-da-da-da-da, then there's a split energy there, because that feeling will be fear coming out, mixed with words that you've said about having supply and abundance, and so that will be a split energy. And you'll stay. That's purgatory right there. That means you don't move forward into the positive things that you're suggesting.
So in the past, if that were to occur, how do you turn that around?
You replace it.
You just use the affirmations that you just tell yourself?
Yes, good question. She's saying, so in the past, if that ever occurred, what do you do? And I say, replace it. You have to replace it with something, and it has to be programmed in. You can have programs from like your ancestors. You can actually be born with thoughts and or feelings of poverty, cancel. But if you see it and that's what you see or experience, it's yours to clean up. Because you don't have to have that for your kids. You could change this on inside of you, and your kids will automatically shift. Because anything that you do within you touches you and everyone that touches the hem of your garment. Your whole team, your family, everyone. Just like the work that I've been doing, I've had so many people who've come and said, you know what, since you got back with your sweetheart and you're with your divine love, this is happening for me. And I have had probably 15, 20 people in my life who they're all back with their first loves. Random, but it's just about remembering that I loved me, and when I love me, then people also love me. Because I'm creating a love that's a frequency here, and it's truly Psalms 91. I have studied Psalms 91 for years and years and years, and when you are standing in the Spirit of God, nothing can touch you, because you have this shield around you, and the shield is called frequency. It's called field. If you have one little dent of fear, one door that it can come in, if you start having any kind of weird stuff that shows up in your life, then you have to say, what in me created that? And set the shield back up with the decrees and replacing it with, I am secure. If you start having a dream that you've lost your wallet, which is your identity and your finances, I am secure. I am secure. I am secure. God in me is secure. Fully. I am fully funded. I am secure. I am secure in my health. I am secure in my marriage. I am secure in my family. I am secure in my finances. I am secure in my identity. God in me is everything, and I am everything that God is. And you have to say it until you know it, until you believe it, until that is the vibe that you create. You can't be like, I am. Or how about, I am that I am. 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 And you have to get, like, almost mad about it. Like, secure in it. Remembering, because that is what creates this in you, which creates it here, and that's the shield. And now, guess what? Nothing can come in that's anti-God. Nothing will show up unless there's a crack in any of these spots that let that low frequency in. Make sense? Okay, so let's look at, yes, question.
What if somebody says something to you that is negative and you know you're not going to receive it?
She says, the question is, what if someone says something negative to you and you know you're not going to receive it? If someone says something negative to you, that is you pushed out saying something to you, meaning you have something in you that believes that. No one can say anything to you unless you believe it, good or bad. So the question is, why are you using that person to say that to you? What in you chose to believe that, to bring that to your field? Okay, you're only seeing 10% of what you believe. 90% of everything that you believe is unconscious. So if someone shows up to you and says something negative, that is you pushed out, using that person to talk to you, because it's giving you the awareness that that's in you. And you have to say, okay, what can I do now to change that idea or that thought and demolish it and make it obedient to Christ?
Okay. So you're saying we bring it on ourselves?
You create your world. Everything that shows up in your world, you create.
But if it's somebody that says it...
Somebody is on the outside. You're still talking about the outside. It's you. You create everything. Nothing can come in your sphere unless you had an opening for it to come in. Here's an example. I was in abusive relationships for 25 years. Why did I create that? Because I didn't like me. Same. But the minute I remembered I am love and I deserve love and I am 100% love because God in me is love. God doesn't accept abuse. God isn't abusive. And when I remembered that God in me isn't a victim, then I couldn't have anything that came into my world that was abusive. They have to go somewhere else to another low frequency and prey on that. But my shield is love. The minute I have someone who comes to me, which I have since then, who someone said something mean or whatever, I had to go back to the drawing board and go, what in me created that to allow that to come right now? And I go in my bathroom or wherever in my car and I start going, I am secure. I am loved. I am fully loved. Always. Permanent love. And you can be loved one day and 10 minutes later not loved. Just like Peter, we talked about, get behind me, Satan, cancel. So what in you created him to use you? I had someone who was out of my life and they were writing me letters. And they were abusive letters, and some of them weren't abusive letters. And I called Bob, and Bob said, what in you is creating that person to keep writing you letters? Why are you inviting that? And I had to go back and go, and I was actually writing letters back to the person in defense and or whatever. And he said, so someone came to me, and I told them what was going on. This is real life. And I said, this person keeps writing me letters, and and they were like, you shouldn't be talking back to the person. I wouldn't be talking to them. Don't entertain it. Don't engage it. Don't keep it going on. And I was like, oh, but. And they were like, no. And so I called Bob again, and I said, that person who's telling you not to do it is just you reminding you not to do it. You created them to say the things that you already know. It can go both ways. You can create someone to tell you the bad things and the good things, but it's all you.
That's what we receive.
Okay, well...
I mean,
If you say it's hard to receive, then it's hard to receive. So make it easy to understand and remember that you create your world. And by the way, if you say it's hard to receive, cancel. Hard creates tumors in your body. Cancel. Nothing is hard in God. Is God in you? Does God say it's hard? Has God ever said, this is so freaking hard? Not once in my Bible. So, God wouldn't say that. This would be where Jesus says, get behind me, Satan. So, what's true? The truth is, you are revelation, you are clarity, you are understanding. God in you is all those things. And I choose to make this fun and easy. I choose to make this fun and easy. Because I have mapped or looked for like great vacations that I got to do the vacation, but it ended up not being fun and easy. So choose to make it fun and easy. Does that make sense? I remember that I create my world. That's something you could say. I am clarity. I am revelations. I am understanding. I have the mind of Christ. I am the mind of Christ. Okay, let's look at page 23. I'm still looking out of this book. Son, thou art ever with me, and all that I have is thine. That's Luke 15:31. I looked up the scripture, and I looked up all, and guess what all means? All. So I've had people who ask questions and said, well, what if I mind map something that isn't God? Well, if it's in your heart, then he put it there. And he's choosing you to put it there. And I always include or better. Because I have had people who, they think they're supposed to be with this guy or whatever, and they outcome this guy. And it's like, no, just outcome, I am my divine partner. Because this guy may not be the guy. Your real partner will show up. When I started remembering my love, Bob had said, because my circle was about my former. My heart was about my former. And he's like, no names and no faces, ever. I am my divine love, and then your divine love shows up. The person that I'm with right now, my husband that I'm with, that would have never came to me. That I never in my mind would have ever thought I would be back with this man. Who is pure love on legs, by the way. He is like love on legs. But I am love on legs. And I created him to come to be love on legs with me. So the more I worked on the inside, the more he was able to show up. And when we walk in love and we are love, don't be surprised when love shows up. It's pretty cool. And that can be your current husband. Yes. It doesn't mean that you're going to get a new one. It just, you can actually shift. People who are married, who are quote, struggling or having problems, first of all, watch the video, I Am My Divine Partner. That's in the Facebook pinned area. Second of all, anything you do inside of you will shift your husband because you have a very sacred, holy communion and covenant. It's super different. And, you don't have to wait for him to do things. You don't have to hope that he'll go to counseling. You just do everything in you, and he will shift automatically. It's instantaneous, miraculous. Everything you do in you affects him because he's with you already connected, and you're entangled, and so that happens. So, son, we are sons. If we can be the bride and the guys can be the bride, then we can be the sons too, right? So Luke 15:31, Son, thou art ever with me, and all that I have is thine. Meaning everything that God is, we get. All the stuff, all the cattle on the hill, all of everything he has out there that is in your heart. And I think in the past, at least in some circles that I ran in, it was almost like popular to not have and to be without. It was almost like embarrassing to actually have wealth and be in wealth. And I really in the past struggled with this when I got into Young Living. I didn't even want anyone to know I was doing business. I didn't want, in the past, it was like embarrassing to put it on my website or to talk about it openly. And it was just like, well, I got to get over myself because Christ in me is not poor. I was living on donations. I didn't have supplies for my kids for school. I did not have Christmas tree or gifts. Whatever reason, I had created this lack of and dependence on others. And God is not dependent on us. He is very independent. He is sovereign, and I am sovereign. And when we vibe that, then money is here for all of us. We magnetize it, literally. You can magnetize money. You can magnetize clients. You can magnetize love and fruit and things and resources. I have literally 3 times, or probably more, lost items that I couldn't find, and I magnetized them back into being. And if you choose, go listen to the Awake series. I have literally magnetized being omnipresent and been with lots of witnesses to seeing me at 2 places at once. Because, believe it or not, everything that God is, we are. Was he omnipresent? I mean, cancel. It was a shock to me at the time, in the past. But I was Googling. Not Googling. I was, what do you call it? Not Googling. Doodling. I was Googling. I was doodling, and I had LOVE up and down. And I was on a consult, and I was just talking and helping someone. And what do you call it? Those acronyms where you put like, yeah. So I had, for love, I had light. For O was blank. V, I put vibration. E for energy. And I went on my group text and I just sent something out and said, what's in God word for O? And they were like, oils and some other thing. And nothing was really, that wasn't it for me. So I was just like, okay. And I left it. Well, the phone rings. And this lady's like, hey, I just wanted to I just wanted to call you. Thanks so much for giving me your phone number. It was such an awesome time to meet you, and la la la. And can you please call me? I want to finish our conversation. And she had met me in Tennessee, and la la la, and told me the time. It was like last weekend, and my daughter was there in the office, and she was like, she must have the wrong number. And I was like, yeah. And so I let the machine pick it up. I didn't even answer it because I wasn't even technically at work at the time, and I wasn't supposed to. So this she called 3 times saying the same thing. And finally my daughter was like, you need to call her and explain that she's calling the wrong number, because she's not going to give up. She's going to keep calling. And I was like, you're right. So she called, and I was still doodling. 3 days later, I was looking for that O, and I had Googled God words for O. And I was like searching, and different words were coming up. And then I call her, and I'm like still kind of multitasking. And she's like, oh, I'm so glad you called, la la la. And she's like, you're just, you were such a help and an answered prayer when I met you. And I'm so glad you gave me your number, because I wouldn't be able to call you because that lady came and took you away, and we didn't get to finish our whole thing or whatever. And I was just like, hey, before you go any further, I just need to let you know I wasn't in Tennessee that weekend. I was actually in Montana. So I think you called the wrong place. And then she was like, what? And I said, yeah, this is Dr. Sharnael. And she was like, yeah, you're Dr. Sharnael. And I was like, yes. And she goes, you specialize in aromatherapy. You're an ND. You work for Swiftfire Ministries. And I was like, yes, but I was in Montana that weekend. And she was like, but you were with Ian Clayton. And I was like, no, ma'am. And she was like, do you know who Ian Clayton is? Yes, I've done several meetings with Ian. I've known him for years. And she's like, you have long blonde hair. I was like, yes. And I said, look, hon, what did she look like? And then she says, she looked like you because she was you. And right then it pops up on my screen, oh, omnipresent. And the power of God was like flowing over me, and I just start like tears and everything. I was like, oh my God, I was there. Yes, I was there. Now what can I do to help you? And she started. Sorry. I'm not sorry. And she tells me what was going on, and I was able to help her. You know, that took multitasking to a new level for me. It was like, you know, God will do whatever he chooses. And there's been multiple things that have happened like that now, even in dreams. Like, I've gone places and done things in dreams, and then people have called me and said, thank you for coming to wherever yesterday and doing that thing and giving me that card or whatever. I was like, okay. And so, look, anything that God does, we are doing that. If you choose, if you're open to remembering that everything, every person he healed, of every disease, it's a frequency that we can be, that I am. Like the shadow with Peter. He just walked by and people were like totally healed and whole. And I don't just mean physical, I mean emotional, I mean mental. All of it. We get that. We are that. If we just remember, when we remember. Oh my gosh, I love him so much. So let's do this. We're mapping here. I encourage you to get this book, because the key to get frequency and be the sound you choose to shift the people that you choose and to shift your world. Hey, I'm seeing hearts. There's Miss Candace. I love you, Candace. So how do you map? I choose to do this in a way everyone can see. You get a piece of paper in your book that you keep constantly, and please date it. So today's date is
17.
Oh, really? I don't have on green. Oh my gosh, happy St. Patrick's Day. Do you know that St. Patrick, who is a hero of mine, was known as the man who raised people from the dead? I live on Shamrock, by the way. Yes. So, 3/17. 2017. Yay. Double 17. 17 is victory. Who likes victory? Yes. Trinity, victory, victory. How about that? Wow. Nice. All right. Is this pen good? Can you guys see? Okay. So we're going to map something very specific, but you're going to help me map it. Wow. Okay. I am, royal, crown, diamond, or better, in young living, now, and always. Now, why are we royal, crown, diamond, and young living? Because I specify young living as a rank and a company, because we are all royal, crown, diamond anyway. So at the beginning when I started mapping this, I was like, that's not very specific, because anyone who knows God and is a son is already royal. So let's be really specific here. Otherwise, we're not going to see the manifestation fast. Or better. The reason why I put or better is because they could change and make a different rank tomorrow, cancel. That's higher out of necessity. When I started, there was no royal crown. Crown was the highest. So they added that after and they restructured. So now and always, I'll explain that. I had a lady who mapped getting on a plane because she was flying standby, and she really chose to be on the plane. I just caught myself saying chose versus wanted. Wanted, you'll never get anything when you want. If you choose or you are, you have it. If you want it, that is a state of purgatory, because you'll never get it. The scripture says, the Lord is my shepherd and I shall not want. We have already. So change. I choose to speak life and choose to only voice my choice. So she had chosen to get on a plane so she could attend a conference. And she outcome mapped being able to get on the plane, which is a pretty good idea because she was flying Delta and not sure she'd get on that plane. Well, she called me a few bits later because she actually got on the plane, but then she was asked to get off the plane because someone had a paid ticket that came last minute, and she didn't have a paid ticket, so they traded her out. And as she got off, she laughed at herself and called me and said, well, I didn't map the right thing. She said, I should have said I already got to the conference, like on so-and-so date with these people. Because if she had mapped already attending the conference, then God would fill in the rest, and she wouldn't have been asked to get off the plane. But she got what she asked for. She asked to get on the plane, she mapped getting on the plane, and she made it to the plane. But then she didn't make it to her destination. So just like a GPS, you don't want to put all the places you don't choose to go, right? You put in the address of where you choose to go, and God will figure out all the steps to get there. And you don't have to know the steps. The more you concentrate it on how, the least ability you'll be able to get there, because your frequency will be, well, how can this happen? How can this happen? When you ask that question, you put out the frequency, how can this happen? Cancel, which splits the energy to not get to the destination. Your entire frequency and concentration should be on the destination. And what's new and different for you beyond making it. Because the more you can focus on, now that I'm already there and I've done all these things, what's new and different for me, if your imagination can go way past getting there and already participating and enjoying doing the things that come out of that, then that's the vibe that you create in your heart that comes out here, and everything has to start coming to you to make that destination happen, and those things are the fruit of it. But the more we concentrate on the how, destination doesn't come, and things beyond that don't happen either. Does that make sense? So the whole exercise is to get beyond. So I am Royal Crown Diamond or better in your living now and always. So what's new and different for you? Everyone imagine this is happening for you now. What are you doing? What are you seeing? What are you feeling? What's happening for you? Use all the senses and the colors. And what are you smelling? How is this affecting everyone around you now that you're Royal Crown Diamond in your living or better, now and always, permanently? Abundance, supply, what is new and different for you? Someone tell me. Respect. Use a full sentence. It's like going and someone saying at the restaurant, what would you like to eat, ma'am? Food. Okay. She said respect from those who you didn't have it before. What is she leaving out? I. So you're not included in this? I just figured out your code right here in like 2 seconds. She's not involved in any of it. She left herself out. So, now that you remember that you are respected and that you are valued and God is in you, what's new and different for you? And she just did that. So, this is right shoulder carrying a burden from a male figure. So this is about a man, right? That doesn't respect you? This is all. I want to say a lot of things, but I'm not going to say anything. So that's okay. We'll keep it in the silence. So now that you're fully secure and respected by every man on the planet, and I just got chills on my right leg, which means that somehow this is a part of me too, in my walk. So I am fully respected and valued and secure by every man on the planet also, because we're connected. So you get it. What's new and different for you now that you are Royal Crown Diamond in Young Living or better now and always? In a full sentence. Breathe, hon. This is so good. I'll write it down. Oh, I choose to write this down. Valor is a good oil for this, by the way. Say again? Okay, I have the ability. When? Okay, so I have the ability now and forever. What's faster, I am that I am, or I have the ability now and forever? So I am that I am. That pretty much covers the whole mind map. But it's super vague. So I'm also going to add, I know you guys are going to have to start here, so I'm going to be fast. I am remembering my value and respect for me. Because when you do it in you, everyone has to submit to that. Everyone has to play at your level. When I am respect, respect is here, and nothing that isn't respect can come in. Make sense? Okay, so let's be more fun, and we're gonna have to wrap up because you guys are about to have to take a break and start over. What are some fun things about I am Royal Crown Diamond or better in Young Living? Yeah. I enjoy what? My wonderful house full of oils. Is your house paid for?
Yes.
I enjoy my wonderful paid in full house full of oils. Probably a faster way is I am an abundant supply of oils. Now and forever.
Sharnael, what's a conscious language way of saying I am limitless?
Limitless is not good. Cancel. So she's asking what's a good way to say limitless. I am an overabundant supply of resources. I am that I am in my finances. Good question.
I am in abundance.
No, not I am and, because that's a separator.
Oh. I am abundance.
I am abundance. I am supply. I am resources. I am God resources. I am fully funded. I am that I am in my finances. What's that? God in me is unlimited. Well, I choose not to say unlimited, because God is a God of I am, not of or I am not.
Well, if you think about the oils, and it stood out in my mind, ancient secrets, a pop, a packing, a possibility, or potential, or possibility.
Yes. She said that in God we are just full of potential and possibilities. We are that we are. We have like literally. Okay, so how about what about your kids? What are your kids doing now that you're I am fully funded and Crown Diamond or better in Young Living always? Your kids are
In health.
let's say I am thriving and my family and world is thriving. So now that you are thriving and your world is thriving, what's new and different for you?
Lord conviction.
Yes. I am at convention Any other things you choose?
My world is
My world is?
awakened.
Yeah. Ooh. Yeah. My world is awake. That's an awesome one. How about I ignite Christ in everyone I touch? No, cancel. I ignite Christ in everyone. Because you don't have to touch people. I ignite Christ in everyone, period. And Christ is love. So you can change out the word I am love. I ignite love in everyone. That's pretty awesome. That's one of my decrees. I ignite love in everyone. I ignite miracles in everyone. How about anyone want to choose to travel? She shook her head. No. Yes. Okay. See, this. Bless you. That means you agree. So, if you say I really want to travel, that means something in there isn't congruent. It could be family. It could be you unconsciously choosing to leave your family or not thinking that you can do that. Cancel. So, pay attention to people's body language because you have to get the whole body in congruence. When that angel came to me, he said, tell them they're not truly living unless they're living true. Everything has to be true. This has to be true. This has to be true. This has to be true. Your words have to be true. The more congruent you are, the more specific you are, the faster your manifestation of miracles. So, good catch. I am traveling. I love traveling. So, I am traveling the world. What are you doing traveling the world? With grace and ease. With grace and ease. Very good add-on because I have traveled the world in the past and it wasn't easy or graceful. So, what are you doing when you're traveling the world? Igniting love, so you got that. Is it anything oil related? Are you teaching? Are you?
Yes.
Okay. So I am teaching on the oils and health and God.
And I am growing my successful business.
Okay, growing. Everyone's getting fatter, taller.
No,
She said, I'm growing my successful business, which I love the successful business. Any ings are purgatory. Trying, growing, waiting, hoping. So, and if you're growing, I don't want one person to gain any weight or grow when they shouldn't unnecessarily grow. You enjoy seeing your team multiply with active memberships. And I say enjoy seeing because you're already doing it if you're seeing it happen. I enjoy seeing my team multiply in active memberships because if you could get one person to sign up and never do anything again. Cancel. Active memberships in Young Living with success. A couple more and then we're going to stop for real.
Money comes to me.
Yes. I magnetize money with grace and ease. How about miracles? I am miracles 24 hours a day. And so is my team and my world. Good? You get the idea? And so now I have a few things here, right? What you would do for time's sake is you would go to each of these and you would keep going. So now that I'm miracles 24 hours a day in my world, what's new and different for me? And then what? And then what? And then what? And then what? And keep asking the question, now what's new and different for you? Now what's new and different for you? And keep going all the way till you can because that creates a sound all the way, it seems out there, but it's really in here that comes out here where everything has to come now. So last thing I want to say is another woman who had put in the circle that she made it to the conference on so-and-so date with these speakers. What's new and different for me, she was taking what she learned and applying it to her life, and her team was actively doing those things, and it was creating active memberships, da-da-da-da-da. Well, the same person, different person, different plane, her plane got canceled. And then her plane got canceled again. She called and she said, what's going on? I don't know. I choose to know. I mind mapped it. I outcome mapped it. And I said, what did you outcome map? And she told me. And I said, just stand on it. Stand on it and stay. Keep the frequency. And they called her. She went to the gate. They told her to go to so-and-so gate. She went to that gate. No one was there except the person behind the counter. She hurried up and got on the plane. She thought she was probably the last one. She was the only one. She waited and thought, they're going to come, something's going to happen. The pilot gets on and says, hey, we're about to leave, blah, 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 we're going to altitude, my name's so-and-so. The people come to do the oxygen and the seatbelt, the two ladies there. She literally was the entirely one person for this plane that she created to get to wherever, which they wouldn't even do, like in the past, right? So I had someone else who put, I am executive, in Young Living, the law made executive. I had another person who chose to do this, the biggest, don't pick a goal too small, that's illogical. Pick something illogical, unreasonable, completely out there, because God is all of those things. God's not executive. Really? Seriously. He is was so bigger than executive. But that's what he picked, and that's what he got, executive. Another person did this. They got 2 interviews for a magazine, a radio interview. They signed up 5 random people from the website that they didn't even talk to. I mean, believe me, if you put in the address, he fills in all the things that you wouldn't have even thought to map, because you just created the outcome. You came into agreement with the sound of the outcome, and God just said, okay, well, for that to happen, I'm going to have to get creative and make all these things happen so these things can happen. What I'm starting to do is, not only am I Royal Crown Diamond, I actually said I am actively leading and influencing and igniting love in government officials, award-winning actresses, award-winning authors, bestseller authors, high-level television people, songwriters in Tennessee. The music. I choose the music industry. I choose the leaders of the world to be on my team. In success, influencing my world. Because why not go to the highest level kings, queens, whoever, CEOs of major Fortune 500 companies are on my team, actively influencing others to join my team and be active. And they're leading. And I'm enjoying being with them, and I'm enjoying traveling with them, and I'm enjoying encouraging them and igniting Christ in them. Those are some big things, and I encourage all of you to do the same thing and to create that. And so you guys got to go. I love all of you. Choose to see if there's anything I forgot. Okay, one thing. Do you do this over and over again? How often? If you haven't seen it manifest, go back and make sure that you have a clean, very specific. You may need to keep going. Now what's happening? What's new and different? What's new? You need to add more. I had one where I was waiting on a legal issue, and it had been 6 months, and it was supposed to take 2 months. And I was like, what the heck? And then one day, Sunday night, I was sitting there, and I said, why has this not manifested? And the Lord said, go look in your mind map. So I go look in my mind map, and it was that this thing would happen harmoniously, with ease, da-da-da-da-da, no date. Not now, not never. I was like, what? I choose to believe why I did not put a time on here. Because that could have been, this is going to happen in 2092. So that's why I put now and always, because I choose for my manifestations to be now. God is in the now. He's not in the future. He's now. So I am that I am. I couldn't write it for that night because it was a Sunday night and the judge wouldn't sign any papers on a Sunday night, and I knew that was true. So I put 8 o'clock in the morning the next day And guess what happened at 8 o'clock morning the next day? And the person was supposed to be out of town. And the lady said that he just came in real quick and was only here for 15 minutes and signed that one document. Because I created it. So I love you guys. I hope this helps. Please apply this. Everyone say to the team, hello. Hello. Yeah. Ooh. Everyone, hi, 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 hi. All right, we send our love. We love you. And apply these things. All right, bye.